Hey guys, injury lawyer Scott DeSalvo here, and I wanted to shoot you a video on the topic of can you switch lawyers in your injury case? In other words, if you're unhappy with your current lawyer, should you switch lawyers? Okay, so a couple of things I want to talk to you about. The first thing is, of course you can, right? You can always fire the lawyer that you're working with and hire a new one, right? But there's some things you need to know about it. The first thing is, anybody who calls me who wants to switch lawyers, one of the first things I ask them is, how far along is the case, right? So I would say the two things I always ask are, how far along are the case and how many lawyers have been involved in the case up to this point, right? Why do I ask those questions? The first is that if your case is in settlement position, if it is being prepared for trial, if there is an offer on the case and you're angry with your attorney, it probably is not a good idea for you to switch lawyers. Now, obviously, if you want to switch lawyers, I'm happy to talk to you about it. But I will be honest with you, probably I get a lot of calls from people who want to switch lawyers because they like me better than their lawyer, or their lawyer's not calling them back, or their lawyer was rude to them. And I will tell you, probably 75 to 85% of the time, I refuse to take the case, because if it's just a matter of your lawyer didn't call you back right away, or your lawyer is under a lot of pressure and they weren't, they didn't take quite as much time as you prefer, or if it's a minor thing, honestly, I probably make about a dozen calls a year to people's current lawyers to smooth things over so that there's not a transfer. And I do that for free. I don't make any money doing that. But I do it because I'm really interested in the best outcome for you in your injury case. And if an attorney has worked on your case for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, it's set for trial, there's a substantial offer on the case, I'm not going to swoop in and take a case like that. And it's better for you that I don't, right? So if there's an offer, it's set for trial, the lawyer's represented you a long time, and you're just knocking heads, you're bumping heads a little bit, it's probably not a good idea to change lawyers. The other thing that I always ask people is, how many lawyers have been involved? So sometimes, I would say most people who call me about taking over a case, they only have one former lawyer. In other words, they have the current lawyer who dropped the case, or the current lawyer, they're mad at the current lawyer, and they want to switch lawyers, right? In that case, it's doable, right? It's something that's doable. But here's what you need to know. You're calling me to be the third lawyer, or the fourth lawyer, or the fifth lawyer on your case. Then there might be a big problem with your case. But even if your case is good, and I'm going to be the third or fourth or fifth lawyer on the case, usually the way fees on contingency cases work is that at the end of the case, all of the lawyers who worked on the case have a lien, an attorney's lien on the case, meaning they have a right to some percent of the attorney's fees. In other words, they have a right to collect some of the attorney's fees for the work that they put in on the case. It's usually called a quantum meruit claim, but the legal name really doesn't matter for our purposes. But the point is, at the end of the case, let's say I settle a case and there's 4 other lawyers and they all have liens, attorney's liens on the case. I have to call those lawyers at the end of the case and split up the attorney's fees. And sometimes that's easy to do, and sometimes it's not easy to do, and sometimes I have to file a motion in court and have the judge split up the attorney's fees based on the work that people did. So it's it's an interesting thing at an end of a case like that. But the point is, the more, I may take over a case and discover that not a lot has been done to it, and that I have to put in a bunch of time and effort and, advance a bunch of case costs on a case, so that at the end of the case, I end up with a very small fee because there's 4 other attorneys to pay, right? So that's something to think about. Those are the 2 questions I ask anytime somebody wants me to switch. The last thing I'll say is, things really have to have gotten to a point where it's like, what do they call it in divorce cases? Irreconcilable differences, right? So if you had a heated conversation with your lawyer once, or you're angry at your lawyer because they don't call you back enough, or it's something that's minor, or they're recommending that you accept a settlement and they explain why, but you still think the case is worth more, that may not be a great reason to switch lawyers too. While you have the right to switch lawyers, and if you have it set in your mind that you want to switch lawyers, You have every right to do it, but depending on how many lawyers are in the past and what stage the case is in, you may be hurting the value of your case. And here's why. Let's say you're a defense lawyer, right? You're the defense lawyer trying to defeat an injured person's claim. If the injured person has a good lawyer with a good reputation, and the client, the injured person, and the attorney get along, and they're a unified front, they're on the same team, and the case is coming up for trial, as the defense attorney, you're going to report to the insurance company that the lawyer is good, the client is under control, they're on the same team, they are calm, cool, and collected, and they're getting ready to take the case to trial, right? You're probably going to get a good offer, right? They're going to be like, let's pay this guy some money. But what happens if the defense lawyer, so if you fire a lawyer on a case that's in suit, the lawyer has to file a motion to withdraw as an attorney, and by law they have to notify the other side as well. So the defense attorney and the insurance company are going to know that there is a rift between the attorney and the client. And that could mean that they pull the offer. So let's say there's, $100,000 offer on your case, and then the attorney tells the defense attorney, well, we're talking to the client about it. We're working the numbers up to see whether we can do it or not. We'll get back to you. And then the next communication they get from your lawyer is a motion to withdraw as attorney because they've been fired. Well, now the defense attorney and the insurance company know that you're not on the same team. There's chaos on the plaintiff's side. The plaintiff's lawyer's mad at the client's mad at the plaintiff's lawyer. They're not getting along. Even if they make up, maybe there'll be like negative energy and snippiness between the injured person and the lawyer. And in front of a jury, that's really bad news. So, these are just some thoughts that you have to take into consideration if you're considering switching lawyers. Now, if you've only ever had one lawyer and you have a major problem with a lawyer and the case is early in the process, that's a better situation for you strategically if you want to switch lawyers. But really, once you get past a certain point, it's really even hard to find somebody who wants to take over a case that another lawyer's litigated for a couple years. So those are some things for you to think about. Obviously, you have every right to switch lawyers. And if your lawyer really does something horrible, you have a right to do it, and you might be able to find one. But I'm happy to talk to you about it, whether it's something that I'll take or not. If you want to give me a call, I'm happy to talk to you about it. You can call me at 312-500-4500. That's 312-500-4500. Somebody always picks up that phone line. So if you have questions, definitely give me a call. Happy to answer your questions. Thanks for watching the video. Have a great day. Take care.